people, groups, organizations signed on. So the Lincoln Restoration Committee, Lewis and Clark County, Powell County, Lincoln Volunteer Fire Department, James and Jill Frisbee, Dave and Peggy Mannix family, Becky Garland, Paul Roos, Bill Wall, Pyramid Mountain Lumber, RY, Montana Wood Products Association, Montana Logging Association, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and the National Wildlife Federation all signed on to this amicus brief in support of the project. So I'm thinking, especially because RY is in your county, if you guys would be interested in that in the future, I think it's too late for this one. I will try to contact you and let you know when those opportunities are, and you might, keep your ears open and consider signing on to these amicus briefs. I don't know how much it helps to have more people signing on, but I don't think it hurts. And I think having local government signing on definitely is a benefit. I think the judges know that that means something, because you go through a public process to do that, and you're elected by your constituents, so it's got to hold some weight, I think. And especially in the case where, in this instance, where RY bought the sale, you definitely can show that you have a vested interest in this, because your mill needs wood to keep going. And if they don't have logs, they're going to shut down. And that's been shown over and over and over again. So you actually, I think, have really strong standing from that perspective. So if you'd be willing to consider that, I think it'd be worth doing that. And I don't know Ed Regan very well, but I've been thinking about getting to know him a little bit better. And if it's okay with you, I might mention that we had this conversation, and maybe he should consider reaching out to you when he knows this kind of stuff's happening.
I think that'd be excellent on all fronts, everything you've just said.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. Part of my strategy from my position is to do more of this kind of stuff. When these litigants lose outright, they don't get paid. If they win on a single point, they get all their attorney's fees and associated costs paid through the Equal Access to Justice, which is the federal law that Aaron Brockovich and others have used. And on its face, I think it's probably a good thing for the public to be able to challenge the federal government in court. But let's face it, on federal or on forest management, it's being abused horribly. And so I think anything we can do to make it so they don't win over time could have some real positive benefits. Because I think if they quit getting paid, it's going to be harder. It just has to be, right? I mean,
I think so.
yeah. When they get paid to do it, it's got to make it easier. I do think that when they lose, sometimes they use that as a plea to go to their donors, but I don't know. My sense is their donor base isn't that deep. I think they have a few, and I think it'll dry up. So we're definitely going to keep working on this. And the other thing to think about is the Coalition of Forest Counties has currently about $23,000 for this purpose, to help counties either file amicus briefs or be interveners on projects. So if the time comes where there is a project that you want to take the lead on, you can apply for funds to the Coalition of Forest Counties to help pay for that support of Forest Service projects. at this point, as far as I know, I think Cabin Gulch would have been the last one maybe that was in your county that was litigated besides, is Iron Mask? in?
That's what I've just heard, the
Okay.
Iron Mask is, yeah.
Well, and that, you know, that one might be something that you might wanna consider, if you wanted to take the lead on it. You might wanna consider, filing for some of these funds. In this case, the Lincoln Restoration Committee took the lead, but is working very closely with, Lewis and Clark and Powell counties. And Lewis and Clark County applied for some funds to help, with the, support of the project through this, amicus brief. So there's a pretty big partnership there, and I'm guessing that the Elkhorn Restoration Committee is
Just thinking
probably
that.
going to, want to support the Iron Mass project. So, something to consider. You might be able to partner with them and help them be more effective.
Absolutely.
Can we do that
Yeah.
with Johnny Crow also, or is that beyond that point?
I was gonna ask that same question. It's in Jefferson County, but we were kind of working on it.
Yeah?
What do you think?
I think talk to Jefferson County maybe and then find out where it is in the process. That's the one thing I don't know. You know, you have to do these before it gets very far down the track. So, yeah, I think you might talk to Al Christofferson from the Elkhorns. I think he knows where these are in the process. And then I think Leonard Wortman, you know, from Jefferson County or Corey
Kirsch?
yeah. Either one of them would be good to talk to about some sort of a partnership between the counties. But I think the real power of these is when you're showing a lot of people in partnership working on these things, showing support. I think that has to give the judge some pause to think, oh my gosh, all these people are in support of it, and I've got these two groups or one group over here that are litigating. It has to have some effect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe talk to Al, and find out where those are in the process, and then let me know if if it looks like something you wanna do, and we can talk more about it. I can send you the, application form for the Coalition Forest Counties. I'm kinda helping them, with that. Those funds actually came from, some funds that came with my position, but, we granted them to the Coalition of Forest Counties for this purpose.
Fantastic.
Well, I think that's everything that I had. If you want, I'll leave this with
Okay.
you. It's kinda interesting to read it. It gives you a sense for, what the standing, you know, what they look for standing. But I guess I feel pretty confident that anytime ROI is involved, or it's in your, or around your county, you guys would be in great position to have standing.
Yeah.
So anything else, any other closing thoughts that you would have?
Anybody got anything?
Thanks for coming.
You bet.
Matt, I really appreciate the work that you've been doing. I think the legislature made a good move in creating your position
Thank
and
you.
refunding it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I do feel like we are making some headway. But as you know, it's a daunting task, and we've gotta just keep pushing to keep making headway. But there's a few places where I really think that things are turning the corner, and I do think that the Helena Forest in general is doing a better job. But there's a lot more that could be done. So let me know if if and how I can be of assistance.
Do you think that since the Forest Service is getting budget cut so much that they'll be looking for more local cooperation with a lot of this stuff then?
I do. I really do. Yep. In one sense, the budget cuts are a disappointment and are gonna make it harder. But in the other sense, I think it's gonna force them to look for more opportunities to work with those of us that are local or state to help them accomplish what they know they need to do. Because they're also being told they're gonna do more work. They're supposed to up their acreage and up their board feet target in the next year. So, they might get their budget cut, but they're also being told they're gonna do more. So they really have to look to us to help them do that. So I think in some senses it could actually end up being a positive thing in the end.
I hope so, and I'm thinking like you are. I know there's quite a bit of counties, quite a few counties cooperating and working in conjunction with the Forest Service. But it's not all up to them. When you have these litigants,
Yep.
everybody does everything right, and it's these few that are the ones
You're-
putting the kibosh on stuff.
You're absolutely right. The litigation, I would agree, is probably our number one problem. The bureaucracy is number two, and sometimes it's a toss-up, but the litigation probably is the number one problem. And that's why I think getting the DNRC and counties involved in supporting these projects when they get litigated is gonna be really, really important. So we are working on that, and we're gonna keep working on that, and I'd encourage you to consider being part of it. Cause I do think that's a big piece of getting this accomplished. There's a few places where for some reason they're flying under the radar. Mineral County's one of them, and they're getting a lot done there in that county, a lot. They also have a really good district ranger and a really good planning team. So, those three things are all coming together, but it shows, and it's really, well, and in Sanders County, which where the Copper King fire was, that's part of that same planning team. It's the west zone of the Lolo. It's really coming together there, and it's really working. So we've just got to figure out how we help on this litigation stuff to get that hurdle out of the way. And the one other positive thing about being a partner with them when it comes to litigation is I do think that even when we're not quite as successful in stopping the litigation as we would like, I think it helps build that partnership.
Yeah.
The Forest Service looks at it and says, gosh, these guys really are working with us. They might hammer us on a few things here and there, where they disagree, but for the most part, it builds a stronger partnership and it builds a better relationship. So that's another reason to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Let me know where I can be of help.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Thanks. Give this to you, Ann. And then we can make copies.
Could I get a copy of that?
Absolutely. And make a copy for each of you.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
Will do.
Excuse me, ma'am, anybody, anything else to, you remember that?
I do. I wanted to, make it a matter of public record that we have a schedule of where Riley has been spraying mosquitoes. And, I just wanted to bring that forward. Anybody can get a copy of this from any of us or from the coordinator or the mosquito board, and I'll give that to Ann. There was also an excellent front page story on the mosquitoes that kind of explains part of what happened, so that people are aware that a lot of things didn't get done that should have been, and that it was JHS that did cancel on the county in late June. And then we are in jeopardy of losing $4 million from the FAA. We are hopefully gonna have another, and that's just because the contract didn't get signed timely. We're gonna have another opportunity, but that is going to be, it's, when we get it, we need to jump on it. We cannot let it languish again. $4 million is for a project that has to be done. If we don't have the federal government FAA helping us, we get to fund that by ourselves. It's a heck of a lot of money for a county to come up with. So, I will ask that we be cognizant of that and try and speed that through as fast as we can so we don't run into that problem again. That's it. Oh, and then Longhorn, we're at our 30-day mark, so we'll meet with Nicole on Wednesday, and we should bring that up with her. I think that's all.
The other thing on mosquitoes too, I had a conversation with Philip Knob on 2 different occasions that he's considering, and I told him he'd have to talk to Corey, but he's considering not having a contract on the wildlife management area, and just have Dunning or somebody, or whoever's coordinator, or I would assume it would have to be Dunning versus board members, do the trap setting, and then just call Stemple when it's time to spray, so you need to come out and spray. Instead of having a contract with him getting a bunch of money, we just take the money from we just get that money from Fish and Game for that area, and then we just kind of monitor that, and then we call either Stemple, or there's a guy in Deer Lodge that has a helicopter, and have them spray versus having an active contract with them. So you wouldn't even have to mess with this contract thing, because if you don't have like he says, right, and the other thing, and I don't know if he had talked to either one of you guys about, was about possibly having him do the same thing that, what's the kid's name, Riley Lynn's doing, except do it out of his plane over that area a couple of times down to see if we can't knock down that flight that's coming in here all the time. So that was a couple of things that Philip and those guys are working on. I assumed that he had talked to Corey, but he was trying to get that to where we can just spray when it's needed instead, and then we don't have to mess with the contract or pay the mobilization fee or whatever it is, except for the 1 or 2 times that they have to come down to spray. But from when he talked to Stemple, it's too late to spray the wildlife. It's too late to larvicide, because they're already beyond that point. It would be very ineffective, but Philip thought that they could do the same thing that Riley's doing, and maybe get them knocked down a little bit. So I don't know where that's at. That was just the conversation I had with him, so that's kind of where he's at that I know of.
And I do understand he talked with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. They're good with the plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it seems that that'd be a lot better way to go.
Yeah, I would support it.
So hopefully that gets done.
One of the other questions too is, do we want to empower the chair of the mosquito district this season to do what needs to be done to get things done? We could actually sign a letter on Wednesday that says we empower the chairman in coordination with the coordinator to act on behalf of the mosquito district to take care of the issues as they come up.
I would think that that would be a good idea to do right now.
Okay, we can have that letter ready for Wednesday and have that done, and in the meantime, to support Franklin as a verbal from this commission, that
Yeah,
support Philip as a verbal from this commission to
to do whatever has to get done,
write,
especially with the rodeo coming up this weekend, that's gonna be.
yeah, yeah.
And maybe I wonder, from talking to people in town, I don't know if we should concentrate spray in town mostly this week.
There's also talk from Philip and Scott of actually getting more equipment. Going ahead, they've got the money, it's getting another fogger and another truck.
Yeah,
Get another person on board with spraying and just get it going in tandem.
what are they running for a truck right now?
I don't know what it is, it's the one they've had,
Okay.
yeah. GMC maybe? It's just a
I was
guess.
just wondering if we can get by with a smaller truck than, you know, whatever's getting gas mileage and buying these. If we get one of those surplus rigs out of the government surplus, it'd be nice.
It would be, yeah. Scott knows how to do that. I know he's awfully busy right now, this is his busy time with weed anyway,
Yeah.
but, I'd be surprised if they couldn't put their heads together and come up with a good solution. So it does sound like we have the verbal for Philip for today, and Wednesday we'll have the letter.
Yeah, I
We'll
would
draft
say
that.
so, yes.
Okay. And if I could grab this back, I'll make you
No.
a colored copy.
I want a picture.
I'll get you one.
I'm trying to
I'll
figure
get you
out where,
one.
I'm trying to figure out where it's at. It looks to me like it must be Round Grove.
Yeah, it could be. Cabin Gulch, probably,
If
well,
this
yeah,
is-
it has
this
to
is Cabin
be.
Gulch, it has to be Round Grove at the
Yeah.
top of Granger and North Fork.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's gotta be,
That's the only place it could be, on the east end, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like a copy of that.
Yeah, most definitely, I'll do a color copy of the whole thing for you. That's good information, I think. And Ann, I'll get you a copy too, just so that you can, do you want me to give it to you for the notes first?
Sure.
All right.
Cause
See
I
that?
don't need colors, but this is good for me.
I should give you the airport stuff. And, we didn't really do anything on this. Is that good?
Sure.
All right.
Nothing else, I guess we'll recess till 1:30.